Phily, firstly, how do you reflect on that London Marathon? I think 2:30 was the time you got there.
Yeah, it's my second slowest marathon out of 5, so not what I came here for, but took a big swing today, went out hard, made a really brave decision to go with that world standard pace, and it just didn't come off. The legs weren't there. It was a pretty tough run from pretty much halfway onwards, where I was kind of in no man's land, and the pacing had kind of gone out the window. It was just about kind of focusing on the mile that I was in and trying to get to the finish, which I'm really glad I did.
They say you learn from each marathon. What have you learned from this one?
Yeah, I think, look, I'll go back and talk to my coach about kind of what happened, what maybe we'd change for next time. I have no regrets. I think if I went back 24 hours, I probably would do the same. Sometimes you just don't feel great on the day. I'm not one for excuses, and I think I'm glad I took a swing today rather than playing it safe and kind of going off more conservative. I've done that in my last couple of marathons, so it felt like the right time to kind of make a move and take a swing for it. Just kind of stiffened up a lot earlier than I would have liked to. I'm not sure I'll be able to sit down after this.
I was about to say, now you're chatting here, when you kind of reflect on this next week, what do you think the thoughts will be generally?
Listen, I'm really proud of the training block that we put in, and it was really good chatting to my coach before we did the race, with an understanding of those worries that you're going to slow down or that it might come off are legit. Like, if you're going to take a risk, that's a possibility that can happen, but if that does happen, so what? What's the worst that can happen? I think we've learned a lot from this training block. I've made some really big step forwards in just sort of the training, the mileage I've been able to sustain, and how my body has held up for the most part. It's been like these last couple of weeks where things have just started to tighten up, and there's been a few sort of niggles hanging around. So something to think about for next time. But it's a continuous learning journey with the marathon. I think because you can't do so many in such a small space of time. It's not like the 1500 where you can do one and come back and learn the following week. You have to really sort of reflect and then come back in sort of 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. So it's tough, but I love it.
But the fact you are willing to take a risk, that says a lot about your mindset within the sport at the minute, I guess.
Yeah, I think so. I think women's marathon running is in an incredible place at the moment, and in the UK as well, which is super motivating. And starting that race with Rose and Charlotte, 2 girls I really look up to in the UK, that was super empowering. And I think being confident enough to take those risks is really important, because if you constantly play it safe, you're going to get to these bigger races and not really know where you're at. So.
And finally, for me, what's the 2025 season look like for you now? What's the idea from here on in?
We've got kind of a blank slate after this. I was really just waiting to see how this goes to decide the next move, and I think it's important to consider how the body comes off this, whether how long I rest for. I'm definitely going to take a decent break. I need one. Maybe come back and do some track races, and then we'll decide whether I come up for another marathon in the autumn or wait a little bit longer.